Basketball? What's people's first impressions when they hear no backboard basketball and a smaller hoop, the three-point shot? I have a conspiracy I want to share, and hopefully you'll help me spread it. And basketball's big business. Let's take a look at how the NCAA house settlement and how this money is going to be distributed and how it's going to change college sports. All this and more on the No Backboard Basketball Show.
That we get back to talking about this community, because I think that's one way, and that I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, it may be the tagline you use there. If change the game, change the community.
I'm the game changer, the mover, the shaker. With every basket, I'm a community maker. I'm the game changer, the mover, the shaker. With every basket, I'm a community maker.
Great question. So the No Backboard Basketball League, the vision of it is a new recreational basketball platform to provide opportunities for Black and brown individuals to actually own wealth creating assets in the sports space. Welcome to the No Backboard Basketball Show, Season 1, Episode 3. I am your host, Mark T. Armstrong. I'm the inventor of Basketball Remix, the modern interpretation of the original game of basketball, and founder of the No Backboard Basketball League. The No Backboard Basketball League is envisioned as a new alternative basketball development platform outside of the traditional basketball system, where we intend to work with competitive basketball families, NIL athletes, and competitive recreational basketball players to provide the world's best basketball skills development, the world's best recreational basketball competitions, and the world's best basketball entertainment. So, what are the benefits of no backboard basketball? Over the years, I have talked to hundreds of people about the No Backboard Basketball League, featuring our U-hoops. Now, our U-hoop is a basketball hoop with no backboard, and it's smaller 16-inch hoop instead of the larger usual 18-inch hoop you find in traditional basketball. Now, two of the most common initial responses I get when people first interact with the concept of no backboard basketball is, man, your jumper has to be wet, or I need a backboard. And the primary benefit of playing no backboard basketball is self-evident, right? Think about it. No backboard, smaller hoop, 16 inches instead of 18 inches. The benefits inherent, right? So the benefit of playing no backboard basketball is embedded and inherent in our sport. And I think this threatens basketball traditionalists. Over 100 athletes have played a version of the no backboard basketball game, and all of them have responded pretty much with the same vein. They love the ability to train, and they love the ability to compete in a no backboard basketball environment. But you have to ask the question, why? So, based upon your experience tonight, do you think this has the potential to actually be a recreational league? That's what's up.
If you know how to play basketball, this is something you should get into. No doubt for sure. It's something that will improve your game.
That's what's up. Well, first and foremost, the most compelling force behind an athlete, and is often overlooked, is true athletes are competitive and they're attracted to challenges, right? So for a hooper, the challenge of mastering shooting on a smaller hoop with no backboard is very compelling. And that's how I know if I'm talking to a real athlete or not. Are they compelled by the challenge that the no backboard basketball presents, right? Also, competitive athletes always want to improve their skill set and enhance their toolbox. So as a training platform, the No Backboard Basketball League, we believe will attract the most competitive basketball families who are seeking advantage in the marketplace today. And we believe these combinations, the obvious and inherent benefits of no backboard basketball, U-Hoop, the competitive nature of basketball athletes and athletes in general, and basketball families seeking a competitive edge in developing their children, will uniquely position the No Backboard Basketball League as the most significant basketball development platform in the United States. Now, in the process, I think in about a decade, the No Backboard Basketball League will be responsible for producing a generation of shooters that will truly break basketball through shooting proficiency and efficiency. Right. Because right now, and we'll talk about this later in the show, right now, though we've seen more than a 500% increase in three-point shot attempts from 20 years ago, three-point shooting efficiency has stayed stagnant. So over the last 20 years, you're still looking at, on aggregate, through the NBA, which is supposed to be the most elite basketball athletes in the world, still around 35%. It hasn't broken through and stayed out above 36% consistently the entire time. So, you know, in the process of building out the No Backboard Basketball platform, developing these athletes, what we're most excited about is we're going to be able to create jobs, NIL opportunities throughout the United States. And this isn't just about changing how basketball's played, right? And we've been talking about this from the beginning. It's about opening up new avenues of growth, development, and economic empowerment for those who communities that traditionally have just been locked out of sports and locked out of the ability to own wealth creating assets. And that's what we want to do with the No Backboard Basketball League and the platform. So on one side, it's a platform to help basketball families make it in today's competitive and professional youth collegiate basketball space. And on the other hand, it's creating new lanes, new avenues, new pathways for Black and brown individuals and everyday Americans to actually participate in the business of sports and join a community of owners. So now they can participate in sports through owning wealth creating assets that can be passed on from generation to generation.
Tired of the three-point obsession, the commercialization of youth basketball, and a game where skill development takes a backseat? Introducing No Backboard Basketball, remixing basketball as a catalyst for change. This isn't just a book, it's a movement. Rediscover basketball's roots, where the focus is on community, creativity, and real opportunities for Black and brown youth. No more barriers for families without deep pockets. Get your copy on Amazon now and join the revolution that's changing the game and changing lives.
Fascinated with the business of basketball. Basketball's huge. I think our last estimate is that the NBA itself is worth $180 billion. You take the valuation of teams, their income, add a 5x to the income, combine that, you come up with $180 billion. We think basketball is much larger than that, even though there's no credible sources that have done the work to aggregate all of the data. We've done some work and we project that the basketball space could be as large as $380 billion. And I think that makes sense when you consider the global sports market is approximately $1.3 trillion. Basketball being one of the largest global sports in the world. So for it to have a significant portion of that $1.3 trillion, that $380 billion kind of makes sense to me. But today what we want to do is we want to delve into what it's going to look like, what's taking place at the collegiate level. And specifically, we're going to break down the NCAA's new revenue sharing model for basketball teams for next year, right? So let's dive into this data. Okay, so this is the proposed settlement from the House versus NCAA. If you're not familiar with that, I would encourage you to Google it. But it's the lawsuit that has put the pay for play in place and has really accelerated NIL. So first off, let's talk about men's basketball under this new model, right? So each Division I school can distribute up to $20.5 million to its athletes, right? So every school now can opt in and pay up to $20.5 million out to all of its college athletes across its athletic department. The Power 5 schools, the average revenue sharing per player in men's basketball is around $218,506, with the total for basketball teams averaging about $19.1 million per school. Wow. So you're looking at men's basketball programs could have a budget as high as $19.1 million. Wow. But here's where it gets interesting. There is a huge disparity in how this money is distributed, because each school's different, right? So a school like Louisville in Illinois, which generates more basketball revenue, can share more. On the flip side, schools like Tennessee Tech and Idaho see much less due to lower overall revenue. And within teams, so you're going to get that, right? And then also within teams, there can be disparity because the star recruit can get more than the other athletes. So this really is going to skew the averages over time. Now, if we look at women's basketball, the numbers are really different. The average revenue per share for a Power 5 school is just $225,254, which works out to about $16,447 per player. Wow. So what do we say? We have over approximately $219,000. Let me take a look at that. We have $218,000 for the men, and we have $16,000 for the women. But we got to remember, this lower figure reflects the disparity in revenue generation compared to the men's. Even here, there's a variance. Again, you have schools like Tennessee and Illinois. They're going to be able to offer their players about $35,000 per player. And then you got schools like Georgia Southern. They're only going to be able to offer a couple of $100. Imagine the impact on recruiting. Wow. Now, an important factor in this distribution is roster size. The beauty of basketball is basketball teams have a maximum of 15 players, which usually leads to higher per player averages compared to football, where it has 105 players, or even baseball, where they may have up to 50 players, from my understanding. So participation in this revenue sharing is optional. So schools have the choice to opt in, but keep this in mind. The schools that do not opt in will be at a disadvantage when it comes to recruiting efforts. This is why I believe in the next decade, we will see a percentage of schools no longer offer competitive athletic sports. They're going to just shut down the athletic departments. You're going to see a percentage of schools stay with the old college try. And if you get a scholarship, it's going to be under the old, or let's say the traditional model, where, hey, we're going to cover your room, board, and et cetera, and maybe hook you up with a job in a local area, but we're not going to be paying you. And then you're going to have a professional tier in college sports. And at that professional tier, you're going to be dealing with the free market system. College professional sports, that's what it's going to be. So here's the twist. When you have non-specific revenues, right? So you have revenues coming from media and sponsorship, that's going towards this. But also you have other revenues that's coming that also can be distributed proportionally as well. And for most university, that is 6 to 37% of the total department, right? So they're expecting the majority of the money that's going to fund these salaries for these college students will come from media and sponsor. Again, this is not NIL, this is separate. So this is media sponsorship, but also what they're saying is that you can use other revenue sources that the department generates to also pay out to these students. All right, so the methodology. These estimates use 22% of a school's athletic department revenue for distribution, and the schools can go up to a 20.5 million cap. Now remember, this revenue includes things like ticket sales, media rights, but now remember, these revenues include things like ticket sales and media rights, but not direct school support or student fees, which is interesting because what this is saying is that these revenues, tickets, media sales, other revenues generated by the athletic department can go towards this, but not direct school support or student fees. And I've read someplace that Virginia Commonwealth University's recent announcement that their athletes next year were receiving an average, I believe it's $384,000 and some change, that a portion of that is being paid through contributions out of student fees. So that's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. And what do you think about that? Do you think that student fees should go into paying the salaries of the student athletes at their universities? I don't think they should. All right, so the implications of this model are pretty vast. It's significant. The significant shift towards professionalization of college sports, potentially changing how schools recruit, how earnings are distributed among players, and how athletic departments manage their finances. It brings up a question about equity, competitive balance across different sports and institutions. It's a new era where financial benefits of playing college sports could be more directly felt by the athletes, but it also poses challenges for schools in managing these new financial dynamics. Absolutely. And what do you think about this shift, right? Because it's fluid right now. It's really fluid, and it's probably going to take several years for everything to kind of settle down and for a real new framework to be clearly seen and understood. I'm wondering, how should families with young athletes with big basketball dreams approach the sport right now, right? Meaning you have 8th graders pursuing the game, they're talented, the parents are all in, they're doing all of the basketball investment stuff. But what they bought into as a 5th grader, as a 6th grader, isn't what they're going to find when they turn of age to be able to play college sports. So what changes need to take place at the youth sports level to better prepare the upcoming future athletes to be able to not just function but excel in this new world that's unfolding in college sports? And that's where the No Backboard Basketball League, I believe, will fit in well in building a nationwide platform to support families who are on their basketball journey, right? Our platform will provide, in addition to skill development, will provide the education, both life skills and business exposure through our platform. I mean, come on. If you're killing it against your peers in a no backboard basketball environment, it's obvious that you have the ability to play and excel at traditional basketball. We create income opportunities, right? So our vision is, by the time our athletes get to college or pro, they won't experience anything new from the business side. They're just going to experience bigger opportunities and bigger checks. That's one of our primary objectives with the No Backboard Basketball League, and our vision, our mission to partner with basketball families, trainers, entrepreneurs, content creators, creatives, technologists, and investors to build out a whole new alternative basketball development platform so we can truly prepare those that are pursuing the hoop dreams in an environment that's holistic. Skills, conditioning, personal finance, life skills, exposure, and income generating opportunities, all in a single platform. And from the age of 12 to 22, you can take advantage of these, and you're learning how to function in the business of sports in a safe, supportive environment that's there to expose you, accelerate you, and enhance you, not exploit you. Hey, if you like the way that sounds, join our community. We're building a community to create a new basketball experience, a community of owners. Go to nobackboard.com. You'll see the field for your email address. Provide your email address. Join the community. Join the community of owners.
Want to tell us your name?
My name's AJ.
And what is your Instagram or TikTok handle?
AJ.littlejohn2 on both of them.
Perfect. What is your experience playing no backboard basketball?
I have no experience yet. It's my first time, so I'm excited to see how it's going to go.
Beautiful. And what are you most looking forward to today on and off the court?
Bonding with my teammates.
New age basketball game for the new age generation to come.
A hoop rise and metal ring, king of this domain. Stamina, sweat, and skills, let the record show my name. Sharp shoot, fast breaks, the rhythm never drops. We play with heart and hustle, every second on the clock. Feeling the asphalt underfoot, we make our own rules. In this game of precision, ain't no time for the fools. No need for glass to kiss the swish, splash, pure bliss. We shape the game, change lanes, in the hood we don't miss. Same grind, different challenge, push the game, test the talent. In the paint or beyond the arc, we're the masters of our balance.
All right, let's dive into a fascinating look into the last 2 decades of NBA basketball, specifically focusing on the real impact of the three-point shot on league averages. I've crunched the numbers. I want to share with you what I've uncovered, okay? So first, starting with total field goal attempts. Right. So back in 2004, 2005, teams were taking 80 attempts per game. Today, we're seeing teams in the 2024-25 season, they're shooting 88.8 shots a game. So that's an increase about 10.5%. Now, the two-pointer, right? The two-point attempt, so inside the three-point line, in 2004, there's getting about 35, 36 two-point shot attempts per game. Today, it's increased by 5 or 6 shots to 41 two-point shots a game. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The number for three-point attempts has actually just skyrocketed. So my data shows an increase of 560% over the last 20 years, from 5.5 attempts per game to 37. I think it may be 40%, the most recent data. 37 attempts this season, per game this season. So if we talk about efficiency, right? So they're shooting way more threes, but how efficient has the field goal shooting percentage improved? And what we see here is that the three-point shooting percentage has only gone up from 2005 to 2024-25 season from 35.6% to 35.9%. This suggests that while three-point volume has dramatically increased, skill development in shooting these shots hasn't kept pace. The effective field goal percentage, which accounts for extra value of the three-pointer, has improved from 48% to 54%. And this is the stat I believe the data geeks push to sell people on the three-point shot being the primary strategy. We know that this improvement in effective field goal percentage is largely driven by sheer volume of three-point attempts, rather by seeing a significant leap in shooting proficiency, right? So if we look at points per game, 2024-5 teams averaged 97.2 points per game. So across the NBA, 2004, 2005, on average, teams were scoring 97 points a game. Today, that's up to 112 points. That's an increase of 16%, a little over 16%. And this can be largely attributed to simply by the increased volume of three-point shooting, but not three-point shot efficiency. So to put things in perspective, let's consider what a 3% improvement in three-point shooting percentage looks like, right? So if we jump from 35.9% to 38.9%, that gives us 37 three-point attempts. With 37 three-point attempts a game, that improvement of 3% is going to equate to just under 4 points, 3.8 points per game. That's a 3.3 increase in total points scored, which it doesn't sound like much, but in an NBA game that's decided by a couple of possessions, that could be significant. But this does bring up a critical question. Does this show a clear advantage in shifting to the three-point focused game? The numbers suggest that while three-point shots have certainly changed the game, making it more exciting with the long ball and some higher scores, the improvement in efficiency or overall point production may not be as revolutionary as the volume increase may suggest. So, is the three-pointer more about strategy and volume than skill development or clear superiority over styles and plays? Personally, I don't see a clear superiority on the offensive end versus styles and plays. Right now, most teams are 5 out. They're spreading it, a lot of high pick and rolls, off screens, etc. So they're creating a lot of movement and keeping the defense busy. Great. But you can accomplish all of that and still have a big operating around the basket. You still can accomplish all of that and have a big and a power forward that can function both near the basket and on the perimeter to counterbalance the small ball trends that we've been seeing holistically. And that's where my point comes in. This might not be about making players better, at shooting from deep, but changing how the game is played. And I think that's what it is. I think the whole objective of the three-point is to change the way we play, and then changing the way we play sets up new requirements for players or new characteristics of required players. And in that process, what have we seen? We've seen a reduction of American players, typically, i.e. African-American players, and an increase of international players, taking roster spots at the college level as well as the professional level. And as an American hooper, I take issue with that. So what I really think is that the stewards of the game have used the narrative, the three is better than the two, which is a lie. A made three is better than a made two. That's the way. A made three is better than a made two. And that's deceptive because they've used this effective field goal percentage to change how the game is played, right? So they're throwing out this narrative, hey, three is better than two. And look, we're more effective shooting the ball, i.e. effective field goal percentage. That validates that shooting all these threes makes sense, which, from my seat, is a manipulation of the data. Because when you think about it again, what's been the result on the rosters? Well, across college basketball and the NBA, there are fewer Americans on college and NBA rosters, and that's a fact. So, my question to you, what do you think? Do you think the three-point era has truly changed basketball for the better? Do you think basketball is for the better, minimizing and reducing the number of American basketball players on college and high school, college and professional rosters, particularly NBA, simply due to the fact that they say shooting more threes is a better way to play the game, when in fact, the data doesn't demonstrate a clear, superior style or approach to the game pointing towards 3 points. The data doesn't suggest that. The data suggests that any smart coach that knows how to create space, ball movement, and integrate athletes that can score at the all three levels, and then a handful of athletes that can score at the all 5 levels, that team could go out and beat a team that just solely relied on 3-pointers, as long as they run an efficient offense and make sure that they have well balance in their attempts. That's my take. I would love to hear yours.
A hoop, small loop, but my aim so grand, no need to kiss the glass. A hoop, small loop, but my aim so grand, no need to kiss the glass. A hoop, small loop, but my aim so grand, no need to kiss the glass.
No backboard.
Give me that. Hey yo, what's up? This beats my cash machine. My mind from West Scene, flashing skills unseen. Which skills? Real thrill, verse pays bills. Yeah, I'm the dealer, known to be the money killer. Like kings, I bring heat. Sizzling on the beat, but I love hip hop, so I'm dropping to this beat. When the youth hear the urban roar.
Skills pay the bills. It's the streets thrill. Young hoops are will. Make that net switch, no standstill.
Stepping up, it's the U-Hoop rally call. No blast to kiss, my aim's to hoop the swishes all. Tech and hustle, blended in the urban sprawl. Creating chances, skills sharp as they can install. Small loop, but my aim so grand.